I'm gonna show you how to draw this cute cat with a sticker effect in few simple steps, so let's get right to it. You're gonna find this sketch alongside the color palette for free in the description of this video, and for this drawing I'm using a canvas 2000 by 2000 pixels. Let's come to our brushes, go to inking and studio pen. This brush is pressure sensitive, so there's a difference. If you press harder it gets thicker and lower it gets slimmer. I like the variations, so for this painting I'm gonna go with this. You can tap with 2 fingers to go a step back. So let's come to our layers, create a new layer, and make sure you have the first color in the first row selected. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and we're just gonna start outlining. Make sure to close all the gaps so then we can drop fill the color, and also come to your brushes again and click on the studio pen and make the streamline amount and the stabilization amount somewhere around 50%. This is going to make your lines smoother. And we can just start outlining. I want to start with the head. Just make sure to close the gap. You can hold so that it snaps into place and you can adjust it. Okay, I'm gonna do the facial features separately and also we'll get to the details later. Now open your layers, come down to the sketch layer and create a new layer above, and we're gonna do the facial features. And we can just drop fill. Oh, I see a little bump. Now let's do the nose and the mouth. I'm not gonna outline the tongue separation because we're gonna do that later. We're also not gonna do the cheeks. We'll leave that for later as well. Now at this point, we're gonna go to our colors and select the last one in the second row and do the eyebrows and these little hair pieces. Again, you need to make sure you close the shape up, so close it behind the outline so that we can fill it. Or you can click on continue filling and just click. Now we're gonna start filling with color, but since we're using white and the background is white, let's come to our layers, click on the background and drag it a little bit lower to the gray so that we can see the difference. Now come back to our layers and we're going to create a new layer above the sketch. So click on the sketch and put a new layer. But first we need to come here to our outline, click on it and click on reference. Now come back to our layer. We're going to select white, the first one in the second row, and just drag it onto the head. We're going to create a new layer above for the body. Continue filling. We're going to fill the tail, the little paw, and the rest of the body. And now we're going to create another layer, switch our color to the third one in the second row, fill in the ear, continue filling. Now let's create a new layer and we're going to fill in the cookie with this orangey color, the third one from the back in the first row. And we're going to come back to our colors, select the third one in the first row, create a new layer, and we're going to fill the ears, Now let's open our layers again, turn off the reference on this layer and turn on the reference on the facial feature layer. We come back to our ears and now we can fill in the tongue. We're also gonna add some gray spots around the cat, so let's come back to our layers. Let's come here to the head layer, create a new one above, and let's turn it into a clipping mask so that everything we paint here will only be shown on the layer below. Come to our colors and select the third one in the second row, and we're just gonna create a little spot somewhere from here to around where the eye goes. Don't forget we need to close the shape so that we can fill it. So just outline this edge. And now we can drop the color in. Oh, we forgot to turn the reference layer off. So come back here, turn the reference off, come back to our color, and now you can just drop it. Okay, we're gonna also make one here on the bottom and on the tail. So let's go to our body layer, create a new one, and turn it into a clipping mask. And I'm just gonna make a little shape like this, maybe smaller, something like this. Again, you need to close the shape up. And now we can just fill it. And we're also gonna do a little gray end of the tail, something like this, and close up the shape. All right, now let's add the details to the paws. So come to our layers and we're gonna click on this little N on the body layer. We're gonna drag the opacity down a little bit just so we can see the sketch poking through. And we're gonna create another clipping mask in here. Come to our colors, select the second one in the first row, and we're just gonna outline these and fill them in. You can also hold the shape after you create it and it will snap into an oval, and if you add your finger it will snap into a perfect circle. And I'm just going to fill these in manually because I like when they're kind of imperfect. Alright, now we can bring back the opacity on our layer that we turned down. And we can start adding some shadows. So let's come back to our head layer, create a new one above. It will automatically turn it into a clipping mask. Come to our colors and select the second one in the second row. And we're just gonna create some line of a shadow somewhere around here. Again, we need to close the shape up so we can fill it in. And I'm also gonna do it on the other side, so somewhere around here. Okay, now let's move on to the body. Again, create a new layer above. It will turn into a clipping mask. And let's add this shadow on the little paw. We can make a triangle shape in here. Also in this part, we'll just close it up over here and fill it in. Another triangle shape over here. Also a slight outline here on the paw. Another triangle shape. And also here. I'm gonna add another one here under the cookie. And on this side of the paw as well. want to extend this one a little. Alright, let's move on to the ears and the tongue. So let's find the layer over here, add a new layer above, turn it into a clipping mask, and let's come to our colors. And I'm gonna select this fourth color in the first row and just create shadows like this. And on the other side as well. And maybe on the tongue, something like this. It's starting to shape up. We can also turn off the sketch layer. I can see it poking over here. So let's come to the bottom and just uncheck this check mark. And let's move on to the cookie. So come to our layers, find the cookie layer, create a new one above, turn it into a clipping mask, and let's select the second to last color in the first row. And let's create a shadow over here. And a little bit on this side as well. Maybe we drag it a bit further. Alright, something like this. Now we can go back to our colors and select the last one in the first row. And let's just create some chocolate chips. You don't need to make perfect circles. They can be kind of wonky. I'm just gonna add a few here and there. I think that should be enough. Now let's add some depth to all the gray parts of the cat. Let's come to our layers. Let's go to this ear layer first and let's turn it into an alpha lock so that we sort of lock only those parts without the background so we can't go outside the lines. Come to your colors and select the fourth one in the second row. And we're going to switch our brush here to airbrushing, soft brush, and set the size somewhere around 4%. And we're just going to slowly build up a bit of darkness on this side of the ear, pressing very lightly, and also on this side. Now let's move on to this part. Over here. Turn it into an alpha lock. And add a little bit of depth along the edge. Just like that. Now let's do the same for these two parts. Over here. Turn on alpha lock. And I'm kind of concentrating it on this side. It's just a little touch, but I think it makes a lot of difference. With still the same brush selected, let's come to our layers and come here to these little paw prints and also turn on alpha lock. Come to your colors and let's select the third one in the first row. I'm going to make the brush size a bit smaller, somewhere around 2%. Let's zoom in a little bit and we're going to do the same, also keeping it only on this one side, just a little bit. If at any point you feel like the line is too harsh, you can smudge it using the smudge tool. Just make sure you set it to the same brush, soft brush. And then you just can go over and smudge the harsh line. Alright, and also let's add the blush to the cheeks. So let's come to our layers. Let's find a layer above the head, so this clipping mask, we can use the same layer. Let's just come back to our colors and select the second one in the first row. Still with airbrush selected, you can just make little blush oval shapes around here and also here. No need to press too harshly. All right, now we need to add the highlights and then we can create the sticker outline. So let's come back to our layers. We can go to this one first. That's the little dark spot on the face. And no need to create a new layer since we're going to create this into a sticker. We can just stay in here and just go to our colors, select the white one, stay with the same brush that we have, or if we want sort of harsher highlights, we can go back to inking and to Studio Pen if I can find it. There it is. And I'm just gonna bring the opacity lower, somewhere around 40%, and just create sort of a highlight line in here. Maybe let's go again, but with a bit bigger size. I'm gonna go with 18%. Something like this. Next we can move on to the ears, if I can find those. Here they are. And here on the other side. Now let's come back to these parts. And just a little bit over here. I also want to add a highlight to the tongue, so let's come to this layer, the clipping mask above the tongue and the ears. And let's just create a little highlight over here, maybe a thinner one. Something like this. Alright, now that we're done, we can move on to creating the white outline for a sticker, and I'll show you a very easy way to do that. So first we need to turn off the background, so go all the way down and uncheck this check mark. And now you can slide 3 fingers down your screen, select copy all, slide 3 fingers again and click paste. Now if you come to your layers, you can see that everything has been copied into one layer, where everything is merged in. You can drag this layer all the way to the bottom. You can place it above the sketch, doesn't matter. And now we're gonna click on it, turn it into an alpha lock, come to our colors and select pure white by double clicking in this white area. Go back to your colors, click on this layer and click fill layer. Now you need to turn off the alpha lock, come to adjustments, Gaussian blur, and we're gonna blur this layer until we can see it poking through. Not too much, I'm gonna go 8%. You can see that the layer has been blurred. We come here to this S shape, color fill select, and we're just gonna click here and drag it a bit further until it outlines the whiskers as well. So for me, that's about 96.5%. And you're done. Just like that, you created your own kitty sticker design. I really hope you enjoyed this video, so please follow, like, and comment. I post new beginner tutorials every week, and I'll see you in the next one.